I'm here with Sandeep Bhanote of Radius8 at NRF, the big show, National Retail Federation 2020. Sandeep, thank you for being here.
Thanks for having me, appreciate it.
Let me ask you, just to get going, as you come to NRF for probably the millionth time, what is the one thing that stands out? Is there something big at this year's show for you?
Well, I think for this year's show, I think it comes down to particularly those retailers that have lots of store locations and have a digital channel. They're trying to figure out how to make those two channels work. And I think it's becoming more and more evident as retailers are trying to understand the dynamics of location context as it relates to the customer shopping journey. That's becoming more and more and more apparent. Our conversations with retailers on the sales floor are all asking us, hey, how do we sort of make these two channels work better together? How do we drive experiences that are sort of profitable for the business, as opposed to losing money? How do we make money using location context, and how do we actually create new experiences that are profitable for us?
So the key word here seems to be location context.
Location context.
Tell us a bit more about what Radius8 is doing in this space.
Yeah, so it's quite simple actually. So what Radius8 does, we're all about using location context to create brand new shopping opportunities that would have never otherwise happened. So in other words, if I'm near, the current reality of retail right now is no matter where I am, if I go to your e-commerce site, the site experience is exactly the same. Right? Versus if I'm now with Radius8 embedded, if I'm near a site, maybe near Princeton, if I go to your e-commerce site, I'm near the Princeton store, or I'm near your Soho store, we can now digitally manifest experiences that are influenced by that particular location that now present a commerce opportunity. Like, hey, you're near a poor performing store, here's an incentive to get you to come into that store location. Or you're at a place of interest, maybe you're at a stadium, and nothing to do with stores, but everything to do with a new commerce opportunity that says you're watching the Giants versus the Eagles. Click here to buy your game day jersey right now, because I know that's where your location is. Right. So using those opportunities to create brand new opportunity that never existed is really the key thing behind what Radius8 does.
Now, for those of you who don't know, Sandeep is a veteran of the payments industry, and this is something that you have done for a while. You've had successful exits, you have built fantastic products, and the experience that you just talked about, it is in some way the holy grail of mobile-enabled commerce.
Right.
We have been talking about this for a while, Sandeep. What's different this time?
I think the difference here is when people have been talking about mobile commerce, the part about mobile that people have been missing is the location context, location aspect of it. I think what's different now is that you have smarter phones, smarter devices, smarter capabilities that didn't really exist many, many years ago. So now, for example, if you're on an Android phone or an iOS device, there are far more capabilities on this device that allow us to create better experiences that didn't really exist before. Right. I mean, if you think about it from this point of view, the current conversion rate for any apparel retailer, for example, from an e-commerce point of view, is about 2%. So in other words, if I'm spending all this money to get you to come to my e-commerce site, at best, if I'm doing everything right, I'm converting 2% of that traffic into paying customers. Right. What about the 98% that's not converting, but they're on mobile and they're near your stores? Being able to create gravity between that mobile consumer and their nearest store, that's the problem that we're solving for, and that's the problem that I think retailers are starting to realize is really, really important that they need to solve for. And so from that point of view, that's what's different. Right. Mobile commerce has been around, but what's been absent from the equation is location context and experiences, digital experiences powered by location context.
One thing I did not hear you say is AR, VR. Is that too much? Is that unnecessary? Or do you feel like the approach you are taking is more practical? I mean, why should someone think about or not think about AR, VR to solve the same use case?
Well, I could tell you from my point of view, and doing this for as long as I've been doing this for, it's all about friction. How do I minimize the friction in an experience to get you to do something? AR, VR is, I feel like it's on the early adopter sort of phase of things, right? If you look at the early adopter curve, yeah, it is something that people that are sort of technophobes want to try and experience. It's a cool experience. But for the masses, they want something that's seamless. I don't want to do something. I don't want to enable yet another app on my phone. I don't want to enable something else just to get into a particular experience. I don't want to work for something. I want to go to your site and I want you to tell me something I didn't know. I want to deliver an experience that's relevant to me. AR, VR is kind of cool, and I think over the next couple of years, as that becomes more and more prevalent as an opportunity, that could be interesting. But I think for right now, where the money is, and quite frankly, it's all about the lowest common denominator, right? Mobile and web. Those two together, how do I deliver the best experience possible? That is what we're all about doing.
Got it. I'm going to ask you a slightly personal question.
Sure.
Right? With all the experience that you have and all the companies and products you've built, you could choose to do whatever you want.
Yeah.
Why build this product and this business now? What is so special about that for you personally?
Yeah, that's an interesting question. After my time at Verifone, and it was a great experience there, I spent some time at home trying to think about my next adventure, what I wanted to do. And when I thought about what Global Bay did and companies of that ilk, they're all focused on the four walls of the retail store. The more fundamental question is, the piece of glass in the window pane needs to have a conversation with the piece of glass in that consumer's hand. How do we solve that problem? And that excited me, right? How do we sort of change the dynamic, create a new experience where that consumer is discovering things that are contextually relevant? And I thought that was a problem, particularly since the fact that a lot of these phones are location services enabled today, that it would be, it was all about timing. The time is right now to solve that kind of a problem, because the equation of, there's a capability there, is adoption there, is true, are stores physically, do they need that kind of traffic? Yes, that's the case. So I looked at trying to solve that problem from the point of view of, I wanted to sort of solve a bigger problem that I think would benefit any enterprise across, whether you're retail or whether you're in QSR or retail banking. Any enterprise that has a physical store and has a digital channel needs to converge those two in this particular way. Right. So I took on the point of, it's a mission. It's like, you learn new habits. You certainly forget the bad ones. And when you certainly when you embark on a startup like this, it's tiring. You have to have a lot of faith in sort of the mission. You've got your ups and downs, of course, like any other startup, but I love it. I mean,
and thanks for sharing, because I can sense the infectious passion in there. So thank you for sharing that.
Thanks, man. Appreciate it.
Let me ask you one last question,
sure.
right? This is a big show. A lot of different technologies and innovations on display. The show keeps getting bigger every year.
Sure.
If there were one thing that people should take away about Radius8 from NRF 2020, what would that be? Location
context is key to success. If you've got stores, you have a digital channel, and you're not using location context, you're going to have a hard time competing. And so it's that simple.
Wonderful. Sandeep Bhanote of Radius8 at NRF 2020. Sandeep, thank you so much.
Thank you very much, Aditya. I appreciate it.